Hi, welcome to the Trade and Connectivity Challenge 2020 Enterprise Level Track Workshop. Thank you for joining us here today. This session is with the PIL shipping team. So my name is Heidi. I'm from Enterprise Singapore and I'm part of the TCC 2020 co-organizing team. I'll be your moderator for this session today. As some of you may already be familiar, we have Pacific International Lines, who have kindly sponsored 3 challenge statements for TCC 2020 this year round. So as some of you already know, PIL is the 10th largest container shipping operator in the world, and is also our homegrown shipping line with presence in China, Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, Latin America, Oceania, and the Pacific Islands. So some admin pointers to note before the start of each session. So our challenge sponsor will have 15 minutes to share each of their challenge statement in detail about the motivation behind crafting some of the statement, about the technicalities as well as the desired outcomes. So the next 15 minutes will be spent on the Q&A portion. Now I'd like to encourage all of you to type your questions in the Q&A function down below your Zoom tab, and feel free to make full use of this time to actually clarify as much as possible with the PIL shipping team. So Jack from PIL Shipping would like to kick off the session by giving a quick introduction of the team and the organization before proceeding on to Mr. Vijay, who will jump into the first challenge statement titled Maintenance and Repair Damage Assessment and Repair Verification. So over to you, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. A very good morning from Singapore, PIL. Right over here, we are representing PIL for the Trade and Connectivity Challenge, and then we are here together with my 5 colleagues. They are basically from information system departments and various business units to present to you the business challenges that the PIL is facing, and hopefully that we are actually looking for the solution partners to actually provide us some very well innovative solutions so that we can actually work with them and then hopefully adopt those solutions in the organizations for the long-term for the long term. All right. So I think first we will go into the first problem statements will be conducted by Vijay. Vijay will actually run through with you the PIL M&R damage assessments and repair verification processes, and then and talk about what are the challenges that we are facing. And then subsequently, we will go on to Mavis. Mavis Lim is from our ISD department. She's been working with the ISD for a very long time. She'll talk about PIL, electronic shipping instructions for transfer for dynamic SI formats. Right, and then it will be followed by a Q&A. Then the final session will be presented by Albert, sir. Albert, and together with Henry and Matsuhao, they'll walk you through the dynamic optimization of the bunker utilization procedure, and see how you can improve the fleet vessel performance. Right. So without further ado, we'll pass it on to Vijay to begin with the first problem statements. Thank you. Vijay, over to you.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I will start with the background of M&R. So I'm from the Maintenance and Repair Department of PIL. So basically, our role is to maintain and repair the containers for our shippers. So what happens is all our containers are returned back to a third-party depot, okay? And this will include backing of all the repair items. So let's say, for example, we have a shipment from Singapore to China, for example. The container will be picked up from a Singapore depot and returned back to a China depot. So upon return in the China depot, right, what they will do is they will assess the container, whether there's any damages or not. So if there's any damages, that is when they will actually, we have our own platform to raise these estimates so that our M&R inspectors, they will actually verify whether this is a recommended damage or not. Okay, so these are all done by a third-party surveyor. That means basically a third-party depot, who will actually upload all these details into our platform. So this will be based on the container number. I mean, when they upload all the images, right, it will be based on the container number, the type of damage, and what is their recommended repair. And with all this has to come with the photos now. Okay, so we will start with our problem one first. Okay, what are the problems we encounter? So usually the images are uploaded for each recommendation. So each container has a recommendation, which our PIL HQ colleagues, right, will actually verify that the container number tallies. Then each damage component can be found in the image. So if, let's say, for example, the container has is recommended for let's say, for example, minor repair, right, it should actually be verified with a photo. Yeah. And then the recommended repair for each damage component should be reasonable given the extent of the damage detailed by the images. So what the image shows is the recommendation that the depot should actually put forth, nothing more. So the images uploaded are not labeled to suggest which damage component it captures. And the PL staff has to manually comb through all the images submitted for each repair recommendation to manually verify all the above pointers. So if the container is written in a depot, right, if it's just a one line item, let's say, for example, washing, so it is like something that it will come with a photo and probably the dirty area, but if we have many line items, we've got dents and damages or top damage, right, then there will be many damages, many damage photos, which our PL colleagues will have to verify one by one. So that is basically for problem number one. So I move on to problem number two. So the next step in the container repair process, after the container has been verified, is to require the specific repair job, is to decide whether to repair container locally or we move it to another location which is cheaper for us to do our repair. So let's say we compare port A and port B, right? Port A might be a bit more expensive compared to port B. So one of the issues that we actually encounter is, should we actually move this container to port B, to have the repair done, so that we are actually saving costs for the company. End of the day is, any repair done to a container is a cost to the company. So in these difficult times, right, we are actually trying to cut down on such costs and move it to another location, a cheaper location, to do the same kind of repair. But there are also some factors that will affect this decision. One of it would be the type of container needing repair. So if I'm going to move from point A to point B, right, I'm moving, let's say, a reefer container, which carries, which has temperature setting. Is port B able to cater to this kind of repair? Are they capable to handle this kind of repair? Because not all ports are able to handle all sorts of containers. And then the second one is the shipping schedule. So schedule is also very important. As long as the container is idling in our depot, right, it's an opportunity cost loss for us, for PIL. So the faster we repair these boxes, right, the faster we can release it out for our customers. And then then that's when the revenue actually comes in. But that will depend also on how fast we can get the box from port A over to the second location, which is port B. And then third one is the availability of the type of repair and the difference in the cost of repair in the different ports. So this one basically just says that if I'm let's say I'm going to repair a certain damage in port A, and the same damage is in port B, if I make a price comparison, right, is it And then it also depends on the agreement rates of the terminal cost of the port. So each port will have their own cost in terms of trucking and all that. So when the container actually, if you take Singapore for an example, right, when the container lands in PSA, although it's one of our repair vendor, it's not our only repair vendor. So we have our own repair vendor in Jurong. We have about 4 or 5 depots in Jurong. This is just taking Singapore into context. So I would have to move this container out of PSA all the way to Jurong. So this will also incur charges for me. And as long as the container stays in port, it gets discharged, that is another cost that we also have to take note. So you have to include terminal costs, you have to include transportation costs on top of the so-called the repair costs. These are things that we need to factor in. So I'll come to some pain points. So basically, this involves a lot of manual and redundant work involved. So if you look at basically a 1 month, right, you're averaging talking about maybe about 30 to 40,000 estimates you're looking at the whole worldwide. So this is 30 to 40,000 of clicking and viewing and vetting that all our M&R inspectors will go through, and then we also find it that this is quite repetitive and unproductive for our M&R staff. I think we are slowly shifting the mind focus from just repair to do a cost analysis for our M&R staff as well. So given their expertise, right, we want to engage them in this kind of field as well. And then there's no streamlined processing. So it's more like a judgment process. We don't know that this container, if we shift to another location, are we going to get it at a cheaper price? Are we saving money? Because our M&R inspectors, they are separated by regions. So they might be probably doing a certain location. So an inspector might be in charge of Singapore, he might not be in charge of China, so he might not know the cost over there. So there's no streamlined process. So and it's also depending on the experience of the M&R inspector, whether this is something that is necessary or something that is not necessary. So all this is based on experience as well. So what are the outcomes we want to what are the desired outcomes we want to come across now? So we are seeking a solution that automates and improves the productivity of the M&R damage assessment and repair verification process. So some of the proposed solution as follows. So we want to see whether there's an automated recognition, labeling of survey results. So there's like images and reports and etc. Then we have this thing called an automated classification of damage. So we want to classify this damage as whether it's a repairable or non-repairable. And then we have the automated recommendation for type of repair. So if you are giving them a photo, right, this is the kind of repair that we expect the vendor to provide, rather than presently everything being done manually. And then is there a smart suggestion to the repair location? This is the one that I brought up earlier, in terms of whether we can save costs by moving it to a cheaper location, and also automated smart decision on optimized repositioning of repair equipment. So so this is also in terms of the so-called we don't want to repair in a certain location and then we have so much of excess, because the containers are based on booking how much they leave. So let's say in Singapore, right, I have 2,000 containers, but my booking is only for 1,000 containers. So do you want to repair ahead of time? So this is something that probably we want to see whether we are able to come across as well. So some of the stakeholders in this will be like our ship owner, depots, damage surveyor, equipment owner, and repair company and depot. Yeah, correct. So I'm just pretty much done with my slides over here.
Great, thanks so much, Vijay, for the informative sharing. Once again, I'd like to encourage the audience to post any questions that you have in the Q&A tab down below. Don't feel shy about it. This is the perfect opportunity to ask as many questions as possible. So Vijay, one question came in for you. So the audience asked, this particular participant asked, how does your third party send the photo to PIL at present? Is it?
Okay, so we have our own platform for our vendors. vendors who will actually upload the estimates. We call it EOR in short. It's called estimate of repair. So every time a container turn in and then there's a repair, right? We have our own platform. This is purely for our worldwide vendors. All our vendors, they will actually log in into this platform, and then they will raise the estimate so that our M&R colleagues are able to see this in our internal system. So it's like like an intermediary, So the platform is purely for vendors. Then this will be actually transferred to our in-house system. And now from in-house system, we actually verify whether we want to do this damage. If we think that we don't want to do this damage, we actually have a method of actually counter offering in our system, which will actually flow back into the other platform as well. So it's like it's the vendor platform and in our own internal platform.
Okay, a follow-up question on this is, without reviewing too much of the details that are currently present, it seems like a very big project, the big system that you're looking out for. Will you and your team be developing this on a phased approach, or will it all be a single encompassing project?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you just repeat that again?
Okay, so it looks like a very big project at present. So this particular member of the audience asked if you will be developing it in a phased approach, or will it be a single all-encompassing project that you're looking at?
Actually, this it can work either way. You can okay, if I take if you want to do as like a big bang approach kind of thing, yeah. But the reliability of the system is one thing. So we'll always like to study, make sure that it's functioning well on a small scale, and then we will roll out to probably all the other locations. We want to make sure the system is stable and the desired outcome is achieved before we actually roll it out to everybody.
Okay, so a question that I have on my end is that because there are two aspects here, right? The first is to automate the process of verification and maintenance, and the second is to suggest where's the most cost-effective place to get the repair works done, be it locally or overseas. So are you looking at the one solution provider to address both aspects, or are you open to two different teams coming together addressing different points of this challenge statement itself?
Actually, we are okay with one, to automate in such a sense that whether we need to repair and whether we need to repair locally or in a different location. We are open to both, I would say, but if it's just one, then it's fine as well.
Okay, so the first option is, of course, the most preferred way moving forward as well. Okay, we have another question. Typically, what proportion of containers from PIL are flagged for repairs at any given point in time?
Okay, here I think we are looking at probably about a 90% ratio, of containers that are actually written, which require, in the minimum, they will actually require a bit of washing. That is the minimum. So when we release the container to the next person who picks it up, right? So at least they pick it up in a cleaner condition. We don't want, they are carrying sensitive cargoes and then the container is dirty and then we release in a bad condition. It's not good for our branding as well. We don't want to be heard in the market that we are not washing the containers and then giving out to the shipper as well. So I would say probably about 90% of our containers that go through some kind of a repair. Even a washing, I'll consider it a form of a repair as well.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for such an informative sharing, Vijay.